Well, what's up, guys? Welcome to this week's video. Got some parts for the XR here. These are just a few upgrades that we're going to be doing. So I want to show you what we got here. First of all, we've got pegs. These are the IMS Super Stocker pegs, and they are quite a bit wider than these factory pegs here. So we're going to be putting some pegs on. So there's those. That's something I've been wanting to do for a while, is widen the pegs up. And then we have a lower end link. Now this bike already has a lower end link. It's got an adjustable one on there, but I believe it is just a cheap Amazon one, and it doesn't fit real good. There's a lot of slack and stuff in it, as I'll show you, but we're going to be putting this in. So this week, guys, we're going to be installing new pegs and a new lower end link on the old XR to make it just that much better. Stay tuned. All right, so I'm going to show y'all the real reason. One of the reasons why I'm changing this lower link out is because with all of both bolts tight, everything is tight. And I don't know if this is normal or not. I don't think it is, but there's that much slack in the link. And it's hard to video, but all of that, you guys can see it. All right, so there's the link. So that's play where the bolts go through the center point of the heim joint, and there's these little spacers, and those spacers are not, the holes are too big, is essentially what it boils down to. So I'm gonna get it out and show you guys what I'm talking about for sure. All right, removal is pretty straightforward. You see I got my bike on the stand. I got these under the wheel to hold the wheel up so that it doesn't just collapse when I pull the link out. But once you got your two bolts, there was one, here's the other, and they go through the both ends of your link. Once you get those two bolts undone, what I do is, if you got a helper, it's a lot easier. You kind of have to pick up on the back wheel just a little bit to take some of the weight off of the bolts, and then they just pop out. So once you get those out, the link just falls out. Super easy. So let's see if I can show you guys here what. So, you know, it goes through, and there's a lot of play in that. And those fit snug in there into the slots where they go. They fit nice and tight, but these holes are just a little too big. And so it creates that slack. Also, and this was how I found the slack, was this thing is, I've had a lot of squeaking and creaking coming from the back suspension, riding through, just, you know, the whole time just hearing the suspension move. And when it first started, I could get under there and spray it with like some lithium grease or something like that, and it would stop for a while. But then it eventually come back, and now it's gotten to where it just doesn't. And it was driving me nuts. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna jack it up, get it out, and try to grease it, you know, a little more hands-on instead of just spraying it, and give it a good cleaning. And that's when I saw that slack. And so anyway, I liked the idea of having a link that had bearings and would operate and function a little bit smoother, and I never adjust this. So I'm gonna walk you over to the bench and show you the differences in links and which one I went with, and why I'm doing the height that I'm doing, how much I'm actually dropping the bike. All right, guys, so you can see our three links. This is your factory. This is my new link. Guess I can put the brand up. That's just our collars. Drop them back in. And then here's the one we just took out, the adjustable one. So this one is advertised. I don't know what brand it is. I think it's just a cheap Amazon. but most all of them advertise from 1 to 2 inch drop adjustability here. And this one is advertised as a 1 inch drop, and they're about the same. So if you do the measurements on it, and I'm gonna, you know, just for ease, I'm gonna burn a couple inches. So that one we're looking about 3 5/8 center to the hole, round that number. If we do the same thing here, it's about the same, about 3 5/8. And then if you go to your factory one, you can see it's like 3 1/4 on it. So you can tell that, you know, this one dropped, advertised starts at 1 inch and it's all the way in. So does this one. So my drop should be the same with this as it was with this. And I never did adjust this any lower. So that should give us the same thing. So this is the ball. It says in instructions it doesn't come with these collars inside, but it obviously does. But it's got bearings, really nice little roller bearings inside, or needle bearings. It's a really nice looking piece. You know, compared to the factory one, it's a lot beefier. We do have to reuse these little end cap guys, so they just pop off, but they got a little rubber seal inside of them that will seal the bearings. So I'm gonna clean these up real good, and we'll put them on that one and drop it in. But I wanted to show you guys, you know, when you put these in, you can see there's a lot of play in the bolt. It's just not a real snug, tight fit. But when you put these in, it's tight. Like, as I'm pushing this through, there's very little, if any, play in that. So it's a lot snugger fit. Plus the fact that the roller bearings just seems like it's going to give it a smoother operation and hopefully get rid of that squeaking that's been driving me crazy. And like I said, I don't adjust this thing. The height that it is the height that it is. So I'm gonna get these caps cleaned up and we'll put the new link in. All right, so you can see the caps. I've cleaned these up. I haven't cleaned this one up, but you can see, I'll show you a clean one. You can see the little rubber seal in there. And so as these press on, that just kind of seals those bearings. So I'm just using a good old brake clean to just kind of spray them out, wipe them off with a rag, just use your shop towel here, and getting these cleaned up before we put them on. So these caps, real easy. They just go on there, and you can feel the little seal kind of snug it up. So we're going to just walk it over to the bike. Let's get this thing put in. To start with, and guys, this is gonna be hard to film, but just bear with me. We're gonna get our link, get it slid up into place. Do the front first. So there's the bolt in the front. And I always clean my bolts before I put anything back together. I like to clean my bolts and do a light coating of grease, because if you've ever have had seized bolts, you know the struggle. There we go. Whew. So I'm just picking up the wheel with my leg, and oh no, I forgot the bolts are different lengths. The short bolt goes in the front. Doggone it. All right. All right. Okay. Put our nuts on. All right, guys, well, there it is, installed. This bolt, remember the shorter one goes up front. This is a 14 millimeter, and then the nut on the back sides are 17 millimeter, just to help you out there. But pretty straightforward, man. The biggest thing is just getting your wheel blocked up to where it don't, just collapse. Make sure the bike is good and sturdy. Other than that, that's pretty straightforward. What I do is this bolt here holds this little lower chain guide on, and if you'll loosen that out, it really lets a lot of slack come into the chain. If your bolt on this side has to come out from the front forward part of the link, that allows you to get enough slack in the chain without having to fool with the back axle to get the bolt out. At least on mine it did. So just that one little bolt, loosen it up, and you can kind of wiggle the bolt past the chain. But to me, it's easier to run the bolts through and have the nuts on this side. Maybe if there's a reason why, or maybe that's just the way the previous owner had put them in. I don't know. I don't think it matters. As long as they're in there and they're tight, what difference does it make? So, all right, well, let's get these put on now. So we've got, these are the Super Stock by IMS. IMS pegs are probably some of the most well-known pegs in the aftermarket world for these bikes. So just to kind of show you a little size comparison here. So we flush it at the front. You can see we've got a good 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch on the back. So that will give us just that little bit more footing when we're riding. So I've heard the trickiest part of these is the spring, but I saw a little video once. I'm gonna see if that works and share it with you guys. The easy way to swap that spring, because they say that's the hardest part. But I've dealt with stuff like this before. I never really saw the big deal in it. I'll tell you, one of the toughest springs you ever deal with, number one, is that kickstand spring. That's a little bit of a booger. But the clutch spring on these old Mopars, the ones under the dash, that's a spring. Things like a 1/4 inch thick. It's a monster. But anyway, all right. So I'm gonna get these things pulled out. We'll swap these pegs. So it looks pretty straightforward. You've got a little Carter pin on the back side. Just gonna flatten that out. Get that dude out. There's that. Got a little washer with it. And then remove the main pin there, and that. And there's the spring that everybody's talking about. So I don't know if this side, I don't think this side is as bad, because the way, so obviously this side is not as bad. We'll drop our spring back in, our pin. That. Throw a washer back under the bottom. And voila. Spring still works. Bend our Carter pin back over. There it is. Side one, done. How long did that take, guys? A minute? All right, maybe this side is the bad side. I don't know. There it is. What's the big deal? You'll go to your local Harbor Freight, not a sponsor, But they have those assorted packs of Carter pins. Carter pins. Man, that is a handy thing just to have. All right. I mean, other than some grease and junk from my hands, installed. Okay, guys, as you can see, the bike sets pretty much like it did before. I'm 5'10", 5'11". I wear like a 32-inch inseam pants, so 32-inch length pants. This does have the seat concepts, kind of lower seat, so that helps probably more than anything. But you can see, I don't know if you can see my feet or not, but I kind of tiptoe like this. But I normally, if I'm at a red light, I'm, you know, on one leg anyway. It's a little tall still. I could go lower. I could have went with some other lower things, but I'll talk about that when I don't have to yell across the room at the camera. But just wanted you to kind of see, I'm on the front ball of my foot. I feel comfortable. There's compromises, and this is just one that I'm willing to make personally. So no more squeaking sound, and I can already tell the pegs feel really good. So I'm gonna go for a test ride with them here in just a second. Okay, so most lower end links for the XRs are like 1 3/4 inches. Unless you go with the adjustable one, I think that will go all the way up to 2 inches. So this one is a 1 inch, which is the adjustable one all the way in. 1 3/4 inches would be a lot better. I'm not gonna lie. It would give me a little bit more footing on the ground. And to a lot of people that matters the most, and I understand, I get that. But what I don't like about that is I'm not so much worried about the rear suspension travel, because I don't jump this thing or nothing like that. But I do like all the travel that I can get, because I do like hitting trails and stuff like that occasionally, and as I get better and better at riding, I do want to do a little bit more aggressive riding with it. So I don't really want to, you know, go that far down. But the big thing for me too is what you have to do to the front forks is that they call for you to loosen the trees and slide the front end down. Now I've got this one down just maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch below where it should be, lowered in the front. And I don't know, man. I don't like that, because when you get lower, your turn signals start hitting your gas tank, and you got all kinds of other changes that have to be made, and I just don't like that. So the bike doesn't feel weird to me. I mean, maybe somebody else could get on it. Eric's rode it before. He actually said it felt too tall in the front end. I don't know. Or, I mean, too short in the front end, not too tall, too short in the front end. So he said the opposite. He rides and has ridden more bikes than I have, dirt bikes and stuff. But I mean, I'm comfortable with it. It doesn't feel weird. And I mean, it sits nice and level. So I don't know. The big thing to me though was that I am running a taller tire in the back. So right now I'm running the Golden Boy, as y'all have seen, and I'm running the, trying to find it, the 510/18. So this is taller than and wider, because when I put this tire on, the kickstand, which you also have to adjust, which I've done that by cutting my kickstand and re-welding it. They do make adjustable ones out there. That's a lot smarter to do than having to cut every time you want to do anything. But when I put this taller tire on mine, the bike leaned a lot because this tire picked the back end back up. So that kind of, to me, has got the bike sitting just right. This little bit taller tire in the back has kind of got the bike setting up where it should be. So I like the way that it is. That's me. Now, everybody out there is going to have their own personal riding preferences to how they like to ride, what they like to ride. So don't take this as, here's what you have to do. This is not what you have to do. This is what I'm doing. So I like this setup. I think I'm going to like that lower link. I think I'm going to like those pegs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my helmet on, put the GoPro on. I got fields and stuff right here. that are my fields, and we've got property, and I'm gonna get out here and just play around in the field and just kind of cruise down the road and see how these, I'm really anxious to try these pegs to see how much more comfortable they feel on your foot. So let me go wash my hands and get a helmet on, and we'll go ride a little bit. All these wild chickens out here. It is a nice day. We got a little rain coming in. Colors are starting to change. You can see them over there. Be a nice fall. Watch out, chicks. Wild chickens everywhere. All right, guys, well, I'm back from that little test rip. Wow. I cannot, I knew they would be better. I knew they would make a difference, but I didn't think it would be that much. Like, I showed you the side-by-side comparison, and it's not, you know, there's a difference, but, you know, you would think, okay, what, 3/8 of an inch at the most? How big of a difference can that make? Humongous. Because I guess that you're always in the arch of your foot with the regular pegs. So, you know, when I'm riding gravel roads and stuff, when I stand up, you're always kind of adjusting your foot, trying to make sure that it's snug in that arch. But just riding down the road, standing up, I never had to like feel my feet around to get them to a spot where I felt that they were secure. They were just there. They were just secure. So, wow, like, definitely the IMS Super Stocker, which they have way more expensive pegs. These are kind of their lower end. They don't have removable pins or nothing like that, which I don't, you know, that's fine. I got these from Motorsport. I think they were on sale for like 80 bucks. The suspension feels exactly like it did before because already having it lowered, you know, not much of a change there. So these IMS come with really cool stickers. Super cool. So, but you know, stickers make your bikes go faster. But and I believe they're made in America. I know the lowering link says it is, and let's see, it's American looking sticker, but that's the part number right there. Shows you what all it fits. So yeah, definitely got my vote, man. All right, guys, little interruption update to the video. So put the pegs on yesterday. Y'all know I can't leave nothing alone. I didn't like the way they cut their stainless steel pegs, by the way. The IMS pegs are stainless steel. They come with that gray powder coated finish on there. I put them on. I just didn't like the way that it looked. It's kind of dull, kind of boring. They have a Pro Series peg that I really like the way it looks, where they're black inserted, polished outside edge, and I was like, man, that looks really cool. So last night I got bored, painted them black to start with, and then polished the outside edge. I just went over it with a like a wore out flat disc, so it wouldn't etch and eat too bad into it. To take the paint off, that way the black stays inside of there. But they have a rough finish to begin with, but I don't know, they look okay. I like the way it looks. It's a peg. I mean, call me nitpicky, but I just think that looks better on the bike than they did before. Kind of matches the black and the polished stuff. It just kind of matches better. Again, call me stupid and who cares? What does it matter? It doesn't matter. But like I said, I was bored last night and I was standing here looking. I was like, I just don't like that gray finish. And seeing their Pro Series pegs and stuff like that, I was like, man, those look so good. So I went for it. I like it. I like the results. As always, thank you guys for watching. You can get our stickers as always, termiteoffroad.com. And all of those proceeds go toward right back into the channel. I mean, it's not a lot right now, but, you know, helps us kind of keep things going. And it really kind of motivates us more than anything that you guys are out there and that you're watching and that you're digging what we're doing. It's more of a motivating thing than it is financial. But anyway, thank you guys as always for watching. Give us a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff that, you know, everybody on YouTube asks you to do. It does help. And we'll see you guys next week.